Hello, hello, hello. I'm talking about The Smile and their new album, Wall of Eyes, which was released on 26th of January 2024. It's the second album from the band consisting of Tom York, Johnny Greenwood, both from Radiohead, and that other bloke, the other fellow, plays the drums, Tom Skinner from Sons of Kemet. Not Kermit, Sons of Kermit. Oh, sorry. I just wanted to do that. Yeah, The Smile. Oh God! Again, I did listen to the first album, but I never reviewed it because the same misgivings that I've got for this, the second album. Am I going to shit on it? Not really. But if you don't want to hear me ruminate over the value of this record and not praise it to the heavens like other people do, then you may want to switch off now because you're a delicate flower. Yeah, again, I'm a bit of. What do you say? It's one of those bands projects that just feels odd to me because of York and Greenwood being so obviously Radiohead, part of Radiohead, and coming to these albums and it's sounding so much like Radiohead that it's hard to distinguish, this from that other band. Now again, it's again, I'm going to use some examples. I know Mick Jagger and Keith Richards. I know Freddie Mercury, Brian May. You know, insert whatever two figures from a famous band, a distinctive band, and get them to go off and make a solo record and have that record not sound like the original band that they came from. Again, you can do it with the Beatles, you can do it with any band, and if you've got two component parts from that band, it's going to refer back to that original band. And this is the thing I've been wrestling with. It's like, it really sounds like Radiohead, and that's what frustrates me about this is, they didn't try and do anything utterly different. The only thing different between this album, Wall of Eyes, I keep wanting to say Wall of Smiles. No, it's not that. Wall of Eyes from A Light for Attracting Attention, is that one's 45 minutes long, the new one, and the other one's longer. I think it's about 55 minutes long, 60 minutes. Again, the first album I think had a bit more variety on it, and I felt that they were almost stretching in some different directions, but all those directions felt like Radiohead. And whereas this follow-up album, it did feel like more of the same, and it's almost like it's in a holding position for, the return of Radiohead. And I think this is how these albums are going to be considered if there's a next, sorry, because you never know if there's a next or when there's a next new Radiohead album coming out, because a lot of the stuff on these albums, I'm kind of reviewing both of them at the same time. Is that a good idea? Probably not. But what I drew from this is it felt like a lot of the stylistic bits from like the dreamy bits from A Moonlight Pool are kind of overhanging onto this, and you do feel like that, stylistically they're in safe territory. But yeah, Wall of Eyes. Oh, I found it a bit of a drag. Because it's Tom York does Tom York. He's almost now a parody of himself in his vocal delivery. There were some interesting bits Especially when they started to sound like the Beatles. There was some string bits in it and some phrasing in it. There's some bass. There's some really good bass that I enjoyed. And I think Tom York is playing the bass guitar in the band for some of the tracks. I can't. I think it's shared between him and Greenwood. But I think in the video he's playing the bass. So I don't know. Anyway, what am I trying to say? It's all right. It's all right. But you do worry that it's just a stopgap. It feels like a stopgap for the next radio. It's just a terrible. That is just a terrible way to view this. Isn't that awful? Isn't that an awful? And I can't get beyond that, because if they'd have done something incredibly different, I don't know. Maybe if they'd have done an album of ballads or something that was wholly instrumental, or if Tom York had forgone his typical Radiohead delivery and, pushed into other areas, I may have found it a bit more of an interesting project. But come on, you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. So yeah, I didn't really get much from it other than saying, yeah, it's pleasant. It felt like it lacked focus, and this is again, the other one did too. I think what happens with the Radiohead machine is it tends to make the albums, going through that process makes the albums and the songs a lot more focused. You feel like there's a purpose. There's a purpose to the album. Whereas here, it feels very much like, well, here's some bits we've got. Here's some bits. We've got some bits here. I mean, they're good bits. They're not bad bits. But it feels very much like that. Again, I could be completely wrong. And I feel like I'm wrong about this, because I just don't know what to make of it. Because it just feels like Radiohead. It feels like an unfinished, like a Radiohead demos. Those other elements, those other members of the band are missing, and that's odd, because you don't, like I said, those other examples that I mentioned, you don't tend to get that in the oeuvre of rock music, where two, important members. I mean, all of Radiohead are important, I'd imagine, but or any band for that matter. But if you take one of the world's biggest bands and remove two of the members, Bono and The Edge, go off and make an album together, will it sound like U2? Do you see? You see where I'm going with this? So, that's the weird thing about this. It's when these characters are just so stuck in their genre. Yeah. So this is probably, people are just going to say in the comments, Darren, this is the worst. You're getting worse with reviews. This is not what we want. We want you to say how brilliant it was. Was it brilliant? I don't know. Tell me why it's brilliant. Tell me what I'm missing, because I don't think it is brilliant. I think it lacks a certain spark, And again, and I even went back to listen to the first album. Again, this is why it takes me so long to get these reviews in there, because I'm double checking my homework to try and say something about this stuff. But yeah, it just leaves me wondering, what is this for? What is this for? What is the aim of this band and these people? And why am I missing it? What am I missing? Yeah. So yeah, if you like Radiohead, you're gonna love these records. I didn't love them. I thought, this is interesting. It held my interest for a little moment. The first album held my interest for a moment. And in the second album, I just thought, wait a minute, it's like that one. We're doing it again. And that's fine. That's fine. But what is this? What is the point of this? What are we hoping to achieve? What is the vision? What are they trying to say? I don't understand what the message is. You know, I don't understand. Again, somebody who's followed Radiohead for a long time and been very much into them, I just don't get it. You know, I don't get it. I feel like there's something missing. Yeah. That wasn't too bad, was it? I didn't shit over it completely, did I? No, good. What is missing from but I will tell you what's missing from the second album is that snarl. I think they are kind of stuck in this, you know, doing those falsetto kind of vocals. You know, you want some of that. I want some of that edge. It lacks edge. Yeah, that's what I miss. Some of that edge. You got a bit of that on the first album, but for this one, it felt a lot softer. You know, felt a lot softer. And again, in places, it sounds quite romantic. But I did find it a bit of a drag. And that, I think, is the review. It's a funny old record, and it's a funny old band. You know, it's a funny old. In fact, it's enough to make you smile. Not to be confused with Smile, the band that eventually morphed into Queen. It's The Smile. Anyway, I don't know what I'm rambling on about. I don't even know how to do this anymore. I'm trying to be thoughtful, but I listen to this stuff and I don't understand. There are no tunes. There's just murmurings. There's murmurings and beats and throbbings. I'm thinking, what am I supposed to feel? I don't feel it. That's it. That's the review. And if you don't like it, I'm sorry. I apologise wholeheartedly, and you can tell me how shit I am in the comments. I really don't mind. So I've been talking about the Smiles' second album, Wall of Eyes, but I also mentioned A Light for Attracting Attention, which I think is the better album. I think that is the better album because, of course, you've got the novelty of it being a project separate with Tom Skinner on drums, who's a very accomplished drummer, very good. He was good with Sons of Kemet. Do check those guys out, which is a much more interesting prospect than this. That's the thing, you see. You get a mix of both of those bands, and you end up with this, which is a lesser project. Just saying. Oh God, everyone's going to be throwing their shoes at the screen at me. I've gone and broken the code. Why did you review it if you didn't like it? Why did you review it if you didn't like it? Why did you review it if you didn't like it?